Good morning. This is Tyler Dawn Rosenquist of the Ancient Bridge, making videos when I don't like to make videos. But something occurred to me last night, and really it's been something that's been mulling around in my head for quite a while now. And the title of this video is What the Preppers Aren't Telling You. And I'm not going to tell you there's anything wrong with prepping, that there's anything wrong with storing food away. But there's something that nobody's talking about. The whole thrust of my ministry is context and character. I study the ancient Near Eastern and first century context to help believers, and especially new believers, understand the Bible for themselves. But I also teach character, and character is what I've been teaching for many years, and I often use myself as a bad example of how to do it wrong. But I firmly believe that it's character and not food stores that's going to see us through the difficult times. And I'm going to explain why. You know, all over the internet I see people panicked about not having enough food stored up for the tribulation, or for the difficult times that are coming before the tribulation, because really, here in the U.S., we've gone undisciplined for far too long. We haven't seen anything close to what we deserve. We've just gone too far, and we're too proud of having gone too far. But storing food up is going to create a problem that a lot of people aren't thinking about. It's going to be a problem whether we store it up or not, but if we store it up, it's really going to be a problem. And let me just read you from Matthew 25, one of my favorite sections of Scripture, and it's one of the most well-known. And when the Son of Adam comes in his esteem, of course we know that that is at the end of the tribulation, and all the set-apart messengers with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his esteem. In the temple, that's where the throne of God is, according to Ezekiel 43:7. And all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. The ancient Near East, the right hand is honorable, and the left hand is dishonorable. Right hand is strength, left hand is weakness. Not speaking against you left-handed people here. Then the sovereign shall say to those at his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father. Excuse me. Inherit the reign prepared from you from the foundation of the earth. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothed you? And when did we see you sick, or in prison, and we came to you? And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, insofar as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. Now, those of you who have been studying context with me and the other Wisdom and Torah Talmudim teachers, you understand about righteousness and justice and the weightier matters of the Torah. We were called from the very beginning, from the time the law was given at Sinai, to always take care of the oppressed, to take care of the widows, the poor, the orphaned, the hungry, the needy. There was never a caveat on that commandment to only take care of them when we have a lot, and when times are good. Okay, and that's what I'm going to lead up to in here. I'm going to finish this out. He shall then also say to those on his left hand, on the dishonorable side, Go away from me, accursed ones, into the everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his messengers. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Was naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. And then they shall also answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not serve you? Then he shall answer them, saying, Truly I say to you, insofar as you did not do this to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. Here's the problem with the prepping mindset. The problem isn't being prepared. The problem is in believing that the food's going to last long enough. And that you won't have, and that if people show up at your door, it's okay to shoot them. I mean, if people are coming with guns and whatever, I guess you've got to do what you've got to do. But if the hungry come to our door, if children come to our door, are we going to send away hungry children? Are we going to send away widows? Are we going to send away strangers? Yeshua said, Jesus, that if we see them hungry and naked and strangers, and we do not feed them and clothe them and take them in, regardless of how much we have, then we've done that to him. And so, preparing food, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But if you're thinking you can withhold it from others and survive, then you're going to get to if you get to the end because you denied food to everyone who needed it, if you shot on sight anyone who showed up looking for food, if you weren't willing to feed the poor and clothe the naked and take in the strangers, then you survived to the end for nothing. Because at the end, Messiah is going to separate the sheep from the goats. And he's going to look at you and he's going to say, as you did to the least of these, so you did to me. You survived the tribulation for nothing because you betrayed everything that he is. You did not seek the welfare of the city that you were in. Maybe you went away to the country, and when people came to you, you said, I'm sorry, I only have enough for my family, but the Bible doesn't say we're exempted if we only have enough for our family. The first century, these people to whom Yeshua was talking to, they were a subsistence population. They were a limited good population. They didn't have any more than they had. Yeshua wasn't talking to the rich. He was talking to people who generally only had enough for themselves. And if there was famine the next year, they didn't have any more. He was talking to people who were already going through what many of us would consider tribulation. They were poor. Subsistence farmers. Some of them were beggars. And some of them were wealthy. But he wasn't talking to people who had storehouses. He was talking to regular people who wondered how they were going to fill their own pantries. We're not exempted. We're not exempted from Matthew 25. Just because times are tough, we're never exempted. If we've gotten to the end and we haven't taken care of the poor, widowed, orphans, then I don't think it's really going to matter that we did it when times were easy. Because no matter how bad it is for you right now, the world is coming into judgment. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions. And the question isn't how you're going to survive the tribulation, how you're going to survive the tough times. The question is, how are you going to live it with integrity? Caring for the least of these, even if it means that you starve and have to trust God to come up with your next meal, the way you were probably thinking maybe that you were going to tell the people who came to your door to trust God for their next meal. There is no biblical justification for turning any of these away. If we do, we're going to be considered among the goats. Come on. It's better to starve to death, isn't it, than to hear that kind of rebuke? If there are poor within our gates, we are required by the law, by the perfect law of liberty, by the constitution of the kingdom of heaven, to feed them, even if it means we don't know where our next meal is coming from. Look at the character of the widow of Zarephath. I don't know if I pronounced that right because I'm not looking at the word. And even if I was looking at the word, I wouldn't know. The prophet Elisha came to her. And asked her to take the food that she was going to prepare for she and her son before they died, because it was the last they had, to prepare it for him instead. She gave to him. And then she and her son survived. They were supernaturally provided for because they did not hesitate to do what the law commands. They fed the stranger. They took him in. They did what they were supposed to do, and God supplied for all their needs. So again, I'm going to ask you, the question is not, are you prepared to survive? The question is, are you prepared to die doing what is right and taking care of the weightier matters of the Torah? I hope so. That's why I spend all my time teaching character, not posting conspiracy theories, not posting doom and gloom. See, those things are going to happen whether I tell you about them or not. The ones that are going to happen. And the ones that are just made up, they're not going to happen. But if I can help you to develop the kind of character that is going to be loyal enough to God to be willing to starve in order to do what is right. Automatic update cut me off there. But I was just going to wrap it up. If we're going to do what's right, then it's going to take a lot more character than most of us have right now. And I include myself. I'm terrified of the thought of feeding other people when I don't have food for my family. But that is what I've got to work on. Not storing up more foods. There's nowhere we can hide. There's nowhere where our food can't be taken away from us. You can have food for 100 years, but if 100 neighbors are showing up every day, you've got food for 1 year. And believe me, once word gets out that you've got food, they'll show up. Of course they'll show up. They're going to be desperate. What's going to get you through? Food stores are deceptive. We have to have the kind of character that is going to do the right thing, regardless of the temporary cost. We're mortal. And yet we're created for something better. This isn't all it is. Surviving the tribulation isn't a virtue. It's something that's either going to happen or not. But don't let the price tag of surviving the tribulation be your soul. Don't do it. Don't do it. Work on developing the kind of character that is so loyal to our God and King. So loyal that you would rather die than dishonor him by turning away the least of these. Even if it means that in doing so, you're going to become the least of these. We need to be willing to become the least of these in order to truly follow our King. It's better to die as a sheep than survive the tribulation as a goat. So, anyway, that's been on my heart, and now hopefully it's in your minds. Have a great day, and I hope I gave you food for thought.